Alright, so now I'm going to compare spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So one, it happens in the male, one happens in the female. So spermatogenesis, it happens in the testes and it begins at puberty. It has 23 chromosomes, and it has, it takes testosterone and FSH, and that's near anterior pituitary gland. So spermatogonia, it helps create stem cells, and all of this takes place in your seminiferous tubercles. And that has an A and a B cell. So the A cells, they stay in the wall, and it's like a big circle, and then there's like another, and then in the middle of the circle, it's like a blank space. And between the two is where all of this happens. So that's where your sperm cells are pretty much produced. And then they move into the middle. So the A cell stays at the wall, but the B cell moves into the tubule, so then it moves into the blank space, and it becomes a primary spermatocyte. So you start with a spermatogonium, and so you start with mitosis with 46 chromosomes, and then you move into mitosis 1. So then you go to 23 chromosomes with an A and a B cell, so it's just a tree. I'm just going to explain the tree. And then you go down, you still have 23 chromosomes, but it goes into a primary spermatocyte. And then that breaks down into 2, and then you get 23, these are all 23 chromosomes. You move into a secondary spermatocyte, and that, and then after the secondary spermatocyte is completed, then it moves into mitosis 2. And then you get 23 early spermatids, and then it moves down and it stays at 4, and it moves down into late spermatids. And late spermatids have like wings on them because it protects it. And then it moves down into actual sperm. So it stays, it becomes sperm, and that you get 4 sperm that are genetically unique, and they all work. And then in your sperm, there's some really important things to know. So your head is where all your genetic info is. And then in the head, there's a little like brain almost. And that's the acrosome, and that's where all your digestive enzymes are. And that's the most important part, because that's where all your genetic variations are. And then the mid-bin piece, it houses the mitochondria, which produces ATP, which helps the tail get its energy to propel into the ovum. So that's like the gist of like what happens in the male. And then you get oogenesis, and this happens in the ovaries, and you have oogonia, and it's during fatal period. There's 46 chromosomes, and it's actually mitosis. And you get, so in oogenesis, you have premorph follicles that start to develop, and they turn into primary oocytes. And then the primary oocyte stalls at prophase 1 until you finish, until you hit puberty. And it's all hormone related, so it all depends on your hormones, so it has a lot to do with the endocrine system, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to explain the tree here again. So you have 46 chromosomes, which is an oogonium, and that's obviously mitosis. And then you're going to move into meiosis 1. So you have 23 chromosomes with a primary that happens in infancy, and then bam, you hit puberty. And then you've got 23 chromosomes, and you're going into meiosis 1 because you just hit puberty. And then that breaks down, you get your first polar cell. And polar means it's not going to be good, it's just not viable. And then you also get your secondary oocyte, so boom, you get your first good one. And then it stops until you hit ovulation. So if you ovulated and the sperm meets the egg and it connects and you're fertilized, okay, that's where we're going to leave off now. So you're fertilized, your egg is good, you're on your way to making a zygote. So then you go into meiosis 2, and your polar body, your polar one, makes 2 more polar ones. So that's 2 out of your 4 that you're going to end up with. And polar, remember, polar is not good. They're not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. But that secondary oocyte that you have there, that's going to do something. So that makes another polar, and that also makes an ovum, so it makes a good egg. And that ovum is what is going, that's going to turn into your zygote. And your zygote is a somatic cell. So that's 46 chromosomes. You get 23 from mom, 23 from dad. And all 4 of these are genetically different, but there's only one that's functional. So remember, you've got the 3 that are polar and 1 isn't. So that means only 1 from the female is good. But remember, with the male, you had 4. The male gives you 4 good ones, and the female, you only get 1. And if you aren't fertilized, then you just menstruate it out. It doesn't stay in your body. When you get your period, it just comes right out. And that's what I got for you. So if you have any questions, just ask.